Hey guys, what's going on? This is Browns Fan 371 back with another vlog here, but it's not going to be really game related. I want to talk about something that's close to my heart and should be close to a lot of, actually all Americans' hearts. Today we celebrate 9/11. 16 years ago today, I'm just going to explain for our younger viewers that, and I'm going to be a little controversial here, our young viewers are basically lied to about what 9/11 was all about, or they don't teach it. I know there's some controversy in different areas of, different areas of the country and in schools, and they don't like to teach 9/11. They have conspiracy theories, you name it. But 16 years ago today, at approximately 8:48 a.m., two planes, actually just the one plane, two planes eventually crashed into the World Trade Center. One at 8:48 and the other about 15 minutes later at about 9:03 a.m. And then about 40 minutes later, I'm not exactly sure, a plane crashes into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., claiming many lives, many casualties. Fortunately, a fourth plane was overtaken by the people on board, and that was actually headed towards the White House. Today we as Americans celebrate 9/11 as a day of remembrance and a day in history that showed American resolve, showed what American people are all about. Basically, I remember myself starting off that day. I just got done with third shift at my job. Actually, the job I'm currently at now, that's how long I've been there. But I was working third, and I come home and I go to sleep at pretty early, about like 7:30. I went to bed early for whatever. Usually I used to be able to wake up and I used to be able to stay up till like 9-10 o'clock, then go to sleep. But I think seeing as I had a day off, I went to bed like a little earlier than normal that day, and I wanted to get up earlier so I can have my day. I think I was off that day, and I got up about 10:30, and I walk out into my living room and at my mom's, and my sisters, my mom, and my dad are all sitting there watching the TV. And I asked what was going on. What are we watching? And Dad, in the most solemn, silent anger voice that I've ever heard him say, said, people have attacked our World Trade Center and our Pentagon. And I asked him, who? And he said, it's terrorist activity. They think it's Afghanistan. And he was saying at that time, it was like 10:30. They weren't exactly sure who was behind it, but they had, their theories. And they said, these guys, there was just hijackers that hijacked these planes. And, he was telling me what he knew. And I remember being very angry. I wanted to enlist in the military right away. Fortunately, my dad said, don't do anything drastic, you're hooked. Back then you were on the hook. You sign up, you're on the hook to go. I mean, I would have done it, but, I don't know. Dad kind of calmed me down and said, don't make a drastic decision, because I wanted to go to the front lines and take out and attack whoever did this. I mean, the group of people that we would go to war with. But anyhow, I just remember that day being very quiet, solemn, calm. I remember that day I went downtown because I had something I still had to do. And of course, I went and got some food and came back to the house. And I remember those couple days just watching the TV, watching all of that coverage. And I was just in a state of shock. I mean, I never thought in a million years that our country would be directly attacked like that. And it showed me that day that not only is, terrorism is a global thing, but you can be attacked at any time. I mean, our homeland we used to think we were protected. We were, I mean, we couldn't have nothing like that happen. But that day just shook me, because it's like, man, it can happen anywhere. Terrorist attacks can happen any place. And, I just wanted to share this with you because me personally, I'm more into like U.S. history than I am world history. Of course, world history is fantastic in itself, but, I always watch a lot of videos on it. I've watched a lot of conspiracy theory stuff about what 9/11, what people think, who perpetrated it, I mean, we all know Bin Laden did it, but there's so many theories out there of what, basically, I think it's a lot of people putting their spin on what they think happened, but, I watch all the broadcasts. I mean, I watch it on YouTube. I mean, it's just something that fascinates me. Because not just the attack itself, watching that plane go in, I mean, that's fascinating, but I also get fascinated by the resolve of, like, Rudy Giuliani, who was the mayor of New York at that time, and the governor, I forgot, Governor Pataki, I think he was, Pataki, and, and even our president, George Bush. I mean, how they kept it all together, I mean, that had to be hard for them, because, I mean, a tragedy like that takes that many lives, just, I mean, it would be hard to hold it together. And them guys held New York City and our nation together. And, and all of the firemen and police officers that, perished or helped out in the New York attacks. And I mean, I just think of all that, the history of those people that lost their lives, and also the history of people who gave of their time, hours and hours, searching the rubble to find their brother firemen or find their brother police officers, was astounding. I mean, you wondered why people wonder why were people just sitting there watching TV? You couldn't actually help. You couldn't help but be away from the TV for 1 minute, because there would you would think, if you wouldn't want to miss, like, if somebody got, rescued. You were always hoping somebody get pulled out of there. You were always hoping. And you were always hoping that some news would come up that was positive. And, it was always a time in history that I will personally never forget. And I know that, there's some controversy about people that say, oh, 9/11 shouldn't be taught in our schools. 9/11 should be a secondary thing, not taught, and there's conspiracy theories and all that, but, it's a part of our history, and I think, I hope, some of our young people that weren't alive back then see this video, because I'll tell you what, you guys need to be educated about 9/11 and what really happened, and how our country pulled together, not just with blood drives, but like helping out with the rubble. I mean, the professionals that were needed to search for the dead, and not just search for the dead, but provide food for the rescue workers. I mean, there was people bringing bottles of water, cases of water. I mean, it was just a great resolve by all Americans that was had. A tragedy turned, I mean, they thought they could bend the American people, and that's not what happened. The American people showed that they weren't going to bend. They weren't going to crumble. Basically, that's all I have for that. I could go on for hours, but I'm not going to do that. Let me know in the comments section below, like, people that were alive back then, or people that lived through it. What were you doing that day? Like, where were you at? I'm just curious to know what everybody was doing that day, if they could remember. What was some things you remember about 9/11? I know this as the years get passed, it seems like the celebrations get less and less. Some people actually today at my job, sad to say, forgot that it was 9/11's anniversary, but we all never forget in our hearts. And to the families and to the police officers that sacrifice their lives for us, and the firemen that sacrifice their lives and their families, we owe them a debt of gratitude for the America that we have today. And to our military and to everybody that fought in wars, we owe our debt to you for having the America we have today. And I'm gonna conclude this vlog, and I just want y'all to take time today and remember those families that perished in 9/11 and perished and dealt with, and who lived through it. And this is Browns Fan 371. I'm going to catch you guys later. All right, see ya. Peace.